Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Custom Carving and Epoxy UK. I hope you're doing well, and as you can probably see by my layout, I've needed a bit more space today because I'm going bigger. So I'm going to be trying my biggest bloom yet in a tray, and that's what this is about, and I'm going to try and do it in a bit of an interesting way. So you can see there, this tray is about a foot, so that's about 12 inches in size. So I've got a feeling it's probably going to take around about 24 ounces of resin all in. So I'm really hoping, first of all, this project goes well. Otherwise, it is a huge waste of resin. So I've got one of my big mixing bowls, and I've just marked up on there 16 ounces of resin. I'm going to be using the Jiaochun resin for this because it's a little bit thicker, and I'm hoping that that will work well in this mold. Again, I've never used the mold before. It is brand new to me, so it's going to be an interesting experience, and I've just noticed something in it actually, so I'm just going to wipe that off. But the plan is to do a bloom, but do a bloom on a bigger scale and with a bit of a difference. So I'm just thinking back to one of my favourite blooms that I've had so far. In fact, the two favourite blooms. Sorry about that, as I was saying, the phone went off, but there we go. But as I was saying, I've been thinking about two of my favourite blooms so far that I've done. I had this one with the alcohol ink, which worked really well. Love the petals on that. And then I had this one with the mica powders. And again, I absolutely love that. I think that is my favourite bloom that I've done so far. Hopefully you'll agree. So the plan is to replicate some of this and some of this in that bloom. So I'm going to be doing the same sort of centre as this, but I've got some rainbow crushed glass that just came in an order from Temu, so I'm going to use that. The plan is then to try and get this golden papaya effect just in that centre with the micas, and again, not being too heavy so I don't get that blobbing effect. And then to use rainbow alcohol inks, I would say, loads of different colours for those outer petals. I don't know if it's going to work. As I say, it's the first time I'm working with a mould this big as well. So I'm a little bit nervous, if I'm being honest, because if it doesn't work, I'm going to be wasting a lot of resin. But, you know, in resin, if you don't experiment, you don't find out. So I've got my colours ready around this mould. I'm going to be using the Let's Resin alcohol ink. So I'm going with purple at the top, green here, Sagittite, which is a type of red, sapphire blue, orange, peach red, which is actually more of a pink, yellow, but I don't have a lot of that. In fact, I'm going to swap those two colours round. And then cerulean for the colours. And I'm hoping that when I pipe the bloom, in the way that I'm going to pipe it, they're all going to sort of blend a little bit and come in together. So the outside of those blooms are going to have the alcohol ink effect, and then the inside is going to have that mica effect. But I don't know if it's going to work. So if that's what you're interested in, you're in the right place. I've got one of my bigger mixing bowls. I'm going to be using the Jiaochun resin for this, just because I've got some left and I wanted to use it up. Now it's a little bit of a thicker resin, and I've had mixed results, to be honest with you, with blooms, mainly around temperature. So I'm going to try this one at 34 degrees, hopefully. And I'm doing it in this big silicone pot as well, which I don't usually mix in. So again, I'm going to see if that has an impact. I'm hoping it doesn't. But what I have done is I've marked up 16 ounces, so 8 ounces of each on here. So that, if you can see there, that bottom lower one and that top lower one. So I'm just going to pour it in until we get to that level. But as I say, I'm just praying that this works, praying I don't get a flash cure as well, because this is a lot of resin going in one container. And I have had my first flash cure, so I'm just hoping I don't get the same. So there we go. That is the first half in. And now for the second half. And you can see these have got these pumps on, but they really don't work because of how thick a resin this Jiaochun one is. I find that they work well with the Let's Resin 1:1 because that's more of a medium viscosity, but for this one they just don't seem to work. So I'm just taking that lid off and pouring. And actually I've got a little bit more in there than I intended, but that's not an issue. And it'll be interesting to see how this reacts with it being so much resin in my bubble removal machine as well. Especially with it being in a silicone container, because I don't know about you guys, but I have found that when I'm putting stuff in my bubble removal machine in a silicone container, it tends to bubble up more than in the clear plastic cups. But I don't know if that's just me or if that's you as well. So going to take a bit of mix in this, so I am going to pause the video so you haven't got to sit here and watch me mix this. Well, I say 16, it's now 18 ounces of resin. But I am going to do it manually. I want to try and make sure that it's thoroughly mixed. I use my mixing stick. And the great thing about reusing your mixing stick is they get covered in resin, so it stops those bubbles being released from what you'd get from a new one. But literally, just doing exactly the same process on a much larger scale. Mixing this through for about 4 or 5 minutes until there's no streaks. Then it's going to go in the bubble removal machine. Then we'll come back for the rest of the process, hopefully once it's nearly at temperature. And I'm expecting, with this being such a large amount, it'll probably get there quicker than usual, because the larger amount of resin that you tend to mix, it heats up quicker. And it's going to be really important here to try and avoid that flash cure. It's a lot of resin. I'm actually really worried that if this blobs or goes wrong, I'm going to be really upset at the amount of resin I've wasted. So let's just pray it goes correctly. So again, just mixing it together, and I'll come back when it's ready. Hey guys, and I'm back, and I've pretty much mixed that up now. It's crystal clear, there's no streaks going through it, quite a few bubbles. But what I've decided to do, I don't want to put this amount straight in the bubble removal machine in this container. So I am going to split it into 3 separate cups. Just before I put it in there, because the great thing about this Resiners bubble removal machine that I use, the Airless Pro, is you can fit 3 cups in there. So I think just to prevent these over bubbling over the top, I think I'm better off splitting this resin into these 3 cups. So I'm going to try and do it for roughly 6 ounces, I think, in each, and then see where we are. And as I say, I think I've got about 18 ounces here, so should be about right if I do 6 ounces in each cup. The fun bit. So here we go. In fact, I'm going to do 5 each first and see where we are. This is, as I say, this is a lot of resin. So I am just conscious. So that is 5 in each. And actually, I think I might get away with 15, 15 ounces for this mould. But I have got a little bit left in there as well. I'm just going to spread it across these others. Because I've mixed it, I might as well use it. And then if there's enough, I've got my spare starfish mould next to me. And I think they're all reasonably equal. And that's the key, it's about getting them the same size, so that they all stay at roughly the same temperature, otherwise it is going to affect that bloom process. So again, just because I've got some clear free, I'm going to fill up this starfish mould as well, and then we can demould that at the same time. Every time I've done one of these starfishes as well, they've come out really well. But again, this hasn't even gone through my bubble removal machine, so we will see. That's the starfish, that can go to one side. And then just going to try and get these last drops out so I'm not wasting any of that resin into each of these. And then I'm going to put them in the bubble removal machine just for 5 minutes to try and get rid of any of those bubbles. So that is stage 1, resin mixed. Just going to give each one a little turn just to make sure it's mixed in the cup, which it is. And again, just try to make sure there's definitely no streaks, because I want to make sure that my resin is mixed for a project. of this size. And let me know in comments, guys, do you think I'm going to get a bloom or do you think I'm going to get a blobby mess? So I'm just putting these in my bubble removal machine. And as I say, with the Earless Pro from Resiners, I can fit 3 of these cups in, no problem. That's why I liked it compared to, I think they've got a light model, and in that model I could only really fit 2, but in this one you can fit 3. So just going to put that through the bubble removal machine in 5 minutes, and then we'll see what the temperature is. So there we go, that's been 5 minutes in the bubble removal machine, and I've got 3 lovely crystal clear cups of resin. And I say this is probably the biggest mix I've done in one go, so I'm intrigued as to whether or not this is going to work. But let me know in comments, guys. So I'm just going to check the temperatures that we're at the moment, because I'm expecting them to go up reasonably quickly. They're all pretty much the same. So they're all on about 23 degrees at the minute on the surface, and about 22 on the bottom. So I'm just going to let these heat up, because I'm not going to pour this until they get to 34 degrees. I want it at 34. That's where I think I've had the best results with this resin in the past, and hopefully I'll get the best results with this. And I don't want to, as I say, risk mucking it up with this amount of resin, because that's an awful lot of resin to recycle if it goes wrong, and I really want this bloom to work out. It's a big risk though. I'm risking probably all in about 20 ounces of resin in this project. So if it goes wrong, again, it's just one of those things, but I'm hoping it doesn't. So I'll see you guys probably in about 5 or 6 minutes when this resin is up to around about 34 degrees. Then we'll get mixing the colours, and we'll get mixing, putting the inks on as well. Now I'm actually considering as well using 2 different blooms. So I'm planning on using my standard ocean white for those outer blooms, but I want to try this metallic white as well, almost pearl colour, as another layer, just to see if that makes a difference and if it blooms. And then I'm going to use that golden papaya for the centre as well. So we'll see if this comes out right. I think it's going to be my best ever bloom, as well as my biggest, especially if we get these different coloured petals on the outside, which is the plan. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in 5. Here we go, guys, and we're back, and I've just realised my microphone wasn't plugged in the last section of this video, so apologies if the sound wasn't great. But temperature-wise, we're up to about 31 on the surface now, so we're almost there, and I just want to be prepared at this point. So I'm going to start getting my colours ready to be mixed. So in this part, dead straightforward, I've got some of these rainbow coloured glass beads that I think would be great for a centre with us going for a rainbow colour. So I'm just going to pour some of those in the pot, probably most of them, to be honest with you. In fact, all of them. And then I'm going to add a little bit of gold, just because there's going to be that gold tone going through it. And a little bit of the black, just to give it a bit of depth in the centre. Again, not too many, but just to get the colour I want. There you go, pretty happy with that. Hopefully that will enhance the rainbow effect if we get it, and the gold. So that is those. Next I'm going to get my colour ready for the centre petals at least, which is going to be that gold and that papaya, which I've used in a previous bloom with a lot of success. So just trying to make sure that you're in picture as well, guys. So this papaya is going to be most of the colour, and again a decent-ish portion. So again, just got to be careful not to spill it, and you don't want too much mica, because if you go with too much, your bloom will blob inevitably. So I'm just putting that much in there. I think that'll be fine. And then I used some metallic gold in the last one, and it worked. But the key is with this metallic gold, do not put a lot in, because it is heavy. So probably a quarter of the amount of that papaya that I've just put in that pot, just to give it that goldish tinge. maybe a little touch more. And I'm hoping by doing it bigger on a larger surface area, it's going to be able to take a little bit more when it comes to the weight of the bloom and the micas. Again, I could be completely wrong and we could get a blobby mess everywhere, which is not what I'm after. And then these two, as I say, I'm going to try and test this metallic paste. Probably shouldn't be doing it on a project of this size, because if it does blob everywhere, it's going to be a complete waste. But I just think that will give us a different texture to some of those inner petals. And again, this is a paste, but they're all mica based, so you've got to be conscious not to put too much in. If you put too much in, then you will get blobs. There's no ifs and no buts, because the surface of the resin, no matter what temperature you're at, unless it's cured, will not be able to withstand the weight. And again, for the main white on the outer petals, and I'm going to try and do these at different depths as well, just to see if we get a different effect. But for the main white, I'm going to be using this ocean white. So again, I'm going to be doing about half a cup full of one of these. So I need probably 2 drops, and that is it, because you don't realize how concentrated this is. 1 bit of string and 2, and that'll be enough. And again, this is all an experiment, so if it all goes horribly wrong, please still put something in comments, make me feel a bit better about wasting all of this resin. 33.1, 33, 32.8, so almost there now. And the first thing I'm going to do is just pour, in fact, which one was the one that was the hottest? 33, see, it's speeding up really quickly now. 32.7, 33.2, and 33.2, so we are there, I think. So first thing I'm going to do is use this cup just to, as I say, get enough in for my colours. And I'm going to half fill these, I think, because I'm going to probably need a bit more than I normally use. Put some in there for those centre bits. Again, that shouldn't need a lot, because that is just to make a bit of a paste. But I can feel it's warming up now, so I think we should be about there on temperature. And again, about half filling these cups. And I'm just hoping I've got enough here. And then the rest can just go into that centre. I may have mixed up too much resin here. We'll find out. So again, all of that can go in that centre, and any bubbles I can get out in a second, but I just don't want to waste any resin. So actually, once I've done that, these cups are going to go upside down in a bigger container so that any spare resin can drip through and I can use it in my dragon mould. So again, next one, again, I'm just going to pour that in the centre and see where we are, because I still want a decent layer just to try and prevent any blobbing. And always scrape your cups, guys. Get all of that resin out if you can. As long as you've mixed it properly, there's nothing to worry about when you scrape. See, it's still not even covered that surface yet, and I want this to be at a depth of around about half full, is what I'm thinking, in order to, as I say, give me enough room to play with if it is slightly heavy and it does slightly blob. So again, just going to go in with this third one now. And you want to make sure that you've got a very level surface. I'm hoping that this is still level since the last time that I leveled it out, but to be honest, I probably should have checked before doing a project of this size. But there we go, that is pretty much all of my resin. So I think I did judge it right on the consistency, because that is around about halfway full, which once I've got these extra colours in, I think will go to about 3/4 of the way full, which will hopefully leave me a little bit of space if I want to back it, which I think will largely depend on if it works. There we go. So now I'm just going to get rid of any bubbles, hopefully. So again, just use your dabbing tool, go around the edge. I'm presuming that that's where the bubbles will want to build up in this mould, and that should release any bubbles from that edge. And then any that I can see I'm just going to try and encourage up and into that middle, because the last thing I want, if this does work out, is these little bubbles, and you can see they sort of cling to the edge. So just tease them out with your tool somewhere near the center so they're not near the edge. And remember, this is probably your only chance, because once those alcohol inks are in, you don't want to be torching. There we go. And that is hopefully the majority of those bubbles out. And you can see they come to the surface really easily. Just going to go over the surface now and make sure that I burst any of those bubbles. In fact, I'm just going to turn up my torch a little bit. That's better. And again, don't want to go too close to the edges, but I just want to make sure that I'm getting rid of all of those bubbles on that surface, which I think we're about there. There we go. Next, I'm going to drop my inks before mixing up my colours, just to give them time to settle. In fact, no, I'm going to put my centre in first. So this is just those little glass beads, multicoloured, mixing it round into a paste and trying to get it reasonably central. And I actually want it spread out a little bit, which it is doing. And then I can always pull it back in. There we go. If you've got a decent centre like this as well, it helps cover up any blobs if you get them in the centre. And you can see I'm just going to move those bits back in where they've pulled away from the rest. Gently does it. And trying to keep all of those reasonably central, but making sure that they're all covered in resin as well. But I want a pretty even spread. And I think that's about there. Let me know, am I central, am I not? And then just because I've added those, give it another quick torch over the centre like that. And again around there. So that is that. Next, I'm going to drop my inks. Remember to give them a shake. I'm using the Let's Resin ones, so first one I'm going to go in with is purple. Just going to go with 4 drops each first and see what they spread like. This one's green. That one took 5, and you will find different colours spread differently, weirdly. This one is Sagilite, which is more of a red. I'm probably saying it completely wrong. You see that is already spreading better than the green or the purple. Strange. But at this point I'm not too fussed about coverage. You'll see why in a second. I just want to get these first colours on. Sapphire blue, orange. You can see it's sort of overlapped a little bit there, but I think we're going to get a bit of muddying, well, a bit of colour spreading anyway, and mixing. As you can see, this should be a colourful piece. Peach red, which is actually bright pink. And again, this one doesn't like to spread as much as the others, so just going in with a few more drops, like so. Cerulean. Again, let it spread. And again, by doing this now, before I go in with any of the blooms or anything like that, it should just give the inks time to just spread a little bit. And then yellow. And yellow's really not going to want to spread, I don't think, so I'm putting quite a bit of yellow in. And I might just put a couple of dots either side. And then do the same with the other colours near the top. So that's the yellow, purple. And remember, once you've got these inks down, guys, you don't want to be flaming it because you could set your piece on fire, which nobody wants a fire. As you can see, quite a bit of ink going on this, but it is a big piece, so I want it to really show these colours off as well. And this red is a little bit wishy-washy, so we'll add a few more drops. And then sapphire blue, I just hope this blooms, you know, otherwise it's such a waste of resin and inks. So do me a favour, tonight when you go to bed, say a little prayer. Bit more of this orange, really loving these colours at the minute. So hopefully, as I say, we're going to get a cool effect. Now I don't want to blend them too much because I don't want the colours to mix too much. And actually if I get a little bit of white, I'm not going to be upset. More of that peach red. Bit more of this cerulean. And a couple more drops of this yellow. So that is pretty much the colours that I'm going for. If there is some big gaps like on this green, I'm just going to add a couple more drops to that so that I haven't got as many big gaps. And again, that purple, there's not enough purple in that for me to give it an even finish, so just going to add a couple more drops of the purple as well. And you can see they're already pulling in a little bit, which is what I want, because if I can, I want to leave about an inch of an edge. One more of this. And then a bit more of this red here. And I say, I don't know if this is going to work or not, especially with the way that I'm planning to do the petals. So we're going to find out. So next one I'm going to mix up is this golden papaya, which is hopefully going to be the center petals. Again, make sure when you're mixing your mica, you mix it thoroughly, because otherwise you're going to get pockets of powder that could just explode. But yeah, I'm really liking the look of this at the minute. In fact, there's something in my resin stopping that peach red spread. What it is, I don't know. It looks like a hair. It's not one of mine. But I deliberately don't want to mix these too much. I want to keep them separate because I think that's going to look really cool as sort of a rainbow petal effect. There we go. So that is my golden papaya mix. Pouring that into a piping bag. Any spare is going to go straight into my drip mold at the side, which at the minute is another dragon, because the last one turned out really cool. And I don't know what impact the alcohol ink is going to have on the inks either. I've never done it, as I say. I don't know what colour this golden papaya is going to come out like. Now this is that paste one, and literally I just left what was on my stick, and you can see, look at that already, how thick that is, that design. So I'm hoping this will give me a slightly different texture and colour of petal. But again, I'm happy with that. It's opaque enough, I think. So that can go. I'm just going to move these around so they're in the right order. If it works, I want to know how I did it so I can do it again. And it's the first time I've used a metallic paste, a white one, to try and create petals. So again, that's part of this experiment for me to see if that will work. So that's getting poured in. And I say this is almost like a metallic, I would say a pearl colour rather than white. And I just thought it might give me another bit of differentiation in the petals. And I'm going to do the spiral effect with this, but I'm going to do it in a slightly different way. So I'm hoping I've got enough of everything mixed up here. So that is that one. And now my ocean white, which is just that 2 drops of the ocean white in there. And that's all you need. You know, it gets to sort of a milky consistency where it's reasonably thick, but you can still see through it. Any thicker than that, and you're going to have problems with blobbing. And again, I still might. I'm not sure. In fact, that is a little bit heavy for me, but what you can do is if you've got some spare resin left over, you can add a little bit of the clear, which I haven't got any of this clear left. So again, I'm going to pour that in and pray. You'll find if you do resin a lot, especially when you're doing bigger projects, you'll find yourself praying to the resin gods quite a lot. And I just wanted to do a quick shout out as well to Julie over at Pouring Your Heart Out, because I've learned a lot about the bloom process from her, and it's a great channel. So make sure, if you don't already, give her a subscribe, give her a follow, and give this channel a subscribe and follow as well. But she's done some great blooms that I've seen on some of her videos, and I've learned a lot. So again, right, they're ready. Now I'm going to try and get these out the way, because otherwise I know I'm going to knock them over as soon as I start my piping. And if you've seen my previous videos, piping I wouldn't say is my strength, but the only way to improve it is to keep doing it. So this is the order in which I'm doing them. So I'm going to, again, once they're in your piping bag like that, just give it a squeeze down and a twist, and be careful that it doesn't squeeze out the back like that, and then that should be ready to pipe. I can feel them warming up, which is good. That's what I want. And I've got another here. And that's a long one. I don't have long hairs, so I don't know where these are coming from. So I just want to get them out. There's nothing worse than that if this works out than having a hair in my piece. I think that's got it. There's that little bit of fluff. There we go. Big long hair. I say, all of mine are short and grey, so it's not one of mine. Maybe it's one of my daughter's. So again, just getting all of these ready to pipe. And then I'm just going to go straight for it, I think. Because naturally, as the bloom happens, I think these colours will shift, mix, intermix, create different colours, and hopefully create some cool effects. And that is my white bloom. So here we go. Moment of truth. In fact, just around the edge, I am going to go around it. Get these little bits out where they've dropped off. I don't want bits in my resin. You tend to find bigger pieces as well. You're more prevalent to bits. So all I'm going to do is just around the edge, just give these a bit of a swirl into each other. So I'm mixing those colours around, and hopefully that's going to create another effect. There we go. And then I'm just going to go down the centre of each of them as well and do the same thing. And this is all I'm doing mixing of colours wise, because I still want that differentiation. And I'm just hoping this peach red doesn't muddy like it does in my pendants, because it's a great colour. But take a second, guys, let me know in comments what you think. Am I going to get a great result here, or a blobby mess? I'm hoping for the first. And then just these two edges here. Bring a bit of that purple into that green. And then the same with this red and green. And hopefully just in the edges, that's going to really blend those colours together. And then just bring these in a little bit more. And then I'm going to start with the piping. So again, I'm going to go with the spiral design, but I want it at different depths. So I want the hole on this bag to be quite small, like that, I think. I'm just going to hold it for a second and make sure it blobs out, which it does. Probably shouldn't use that word. And then this one, I want the petals really close together. And I just want 2 or 3 rings past that outer perimeter of where I've put that centre. Like so. And then I'm going to just fold that up because, as I say, I'm going to have quite a bit of spare. And next I'm going to go in with this pearlescent one, and I want a similar thickness, gradually getting a little bit wider. Maybe a tiny bit thicker. And again, that's coming out lovely. So again, I'm just going to start here. And I probably want about 5 rings of this, I think. And this is going to be my last one of that. So that is that one. And then my ocean white. And I've got a little bit that's come across there, but I'm not concerned yet. And this one, again, I'm going to start off a little bit thin and then gradually get thicker. And that's coming out lovely. So again, and I'm just intrigued as to if this will give me a slightly different look to these petals. And that's coming out beautifully. I'm getting a good thickness on it as well, so I'm just hoping it doesn't blob now. I'm going to get one more ring. Didn't want that to happen, and there we go. So that is essentially the petals, and I've got about 3 ounces looks like at the side, but I'm going to pour that into my mould in a second. I just want to get these petals drawn in now. So again, I'm just using my silicone tool, and I'm going to use the slightly wider edge, and what I'm going to try and do is come in almost where those colours separate. So just from the edge, and you don't want to be touching the base of your mould at this point, you just want to tickle the top. And then do the same on the opposite side, which is this one. All the way into that centre. And I'm going to go with this one. Always wipe your stick off in between as well, guys. I can already see some amazing colours. I'm just hoping they stay in the finished piece and that it blooms. Let me know what you think in comments, guys. Is it going to work? Or have I just wasted the best part of 16 ounces of resin? We will find out together, as we do everything on this channel. So if you haven't already, do me a favour, hit that like and subscribe. Now with this being bigger, I'm going to try and get 2 petals out of each one as well. So again, same thing, just splitting the difference. And hopefully it should encourage that blooming as well. Which I'm not convinced about yet. It's not blooming yet. Again, just trying to make sure that I don't miss any here. Otherwise I'll get a very uneven looking bloom if it works. Got a bit of peach red left on there, but I don't think it'll matter in the overall design. And then this yellow. Either way, I think I'll have a very colourful piece of resin. And again, I just missed that one, so just coming all the way into the centre there. Next thing I'm going to do is just give it a bit of a swirl in that centre, and just in the centre bits like that. Just so, again, it helps prevent any blobbing, and hopefully that'll all be covered anyway by those glass beads. And then what I'm going to do with each petal, 3 layers in, is just bring it out. like that. So hopefully I'm going to keep some rounded petals in the centre, and then these longer ones just coming out the edge. But I think this could either be my best bloom, it's definitely my biggest, or it will be an absolute nightmare and it will blob everywhere. I'm feeling it at the moment. And it seems to be wanting to bloom. Whether that means it will, I don't know. Again, just trying to keep everything reasonably symmetrical. So if it does bloom correctly, those petals are going to look absolutely amazing. But again, it's my first time using this mould as well, so I'm not convinced it's all going to pull inwards. I hope it does. But I think that is my petals done. That's my design done pretty much, apart from the back. So what I'm going to do to not waste the rest of this resin that I've got in the bags, and the white is currently pouring all over my surface, is just fill up, if I can, I'm going to try and make some space here, and fill up my dragon mould, and hopefully be able to demold it tomorrow with this bloom. And I only started this one a couple of days ago. So I'm going to go in the centre with the rest of my ocean white, because that's probably the least colourful. And I'm just hoping I've put enough pigment in there for it to bloom and spread, but we'll find out. So there's that one. Oh, I've got some cleanup to do. This is the metallic-y white, or pearl. So again, I'm going to go around the edges a little bit with this. Hopefully give it a slightly different effect. And I think we're definitely going to fill this mould this time. Won't be as colourful as the last one because there's not as many layers gone into this. And then in with this golden papaya. Just be careful when you're squeezing out that it doesn't come out the back, because it can do that. Well, maybe not quite full, but very close. I'm going to see if I've got any clear left as well, because if I can get this filled today, it'll give me 2 pieces to demold tomorrow. I'm going to have a look at this bloom again in a minute. Now those alcoholics have really settled in, I should be okay to use my torch as well, and I can see a few bubbles on the surface. So I am going to risk it, because I've not got any alcohol in a spray bottle to spritz it, but I also want to encourage that blooming to happen, which at the minute I'm not convinced is. So again, just use my torch, and I'm going to just go around the whole thing, again trying to direct it in the way that the petals would naturally bloom, and hope that that's going to encourage that blooming process, because I'm loving the colours on it, and I think it will definitely be my most colourful piece yet. But let me know what you think in comments, guys, of this imaginative rainbow bloom, I think I'm going to call it. And I think if I scrape all of these pots, we will have a full dragon to demold tomorrow, which will be exciting, as well as this bloom. And I'm just conscious to try and not put my arm over it, because my arm could be dragging anything into that dragon. Excuse the pun. Here we go. So this is pretty much all of that clear. And this is why you always have your side molds as well, guys, so you're not wasting any, because we all know resin's expensive, especially if you factor in the pieces that go wrong. And I'm hoping this isn't going to be one of those pieces. So that's that. It's still not blooming properly yet. Oh, please bloom. And I've got a big clean up on my hands after this project by the looks of things. That's one thing you need to get used to with resin as well. It looks like those outer ones are really blooming now on that bloom. So hopefully that means the inner ones will as well eventually. And again, guys, let me know if you're liking the content at the minute. Are you liking the videos? Do you want us to do different experiments? Do you want us to try something completely different? Or are you loving the blooms as much as I am at the minute and experimenting with them to see what effects we get? I've got a few more ideas for experiments as well over the next couple of days, so stay tuned for those. And I've got a really good video which hopefully will be ready to come out just after this one as well. I think this could actually do with a little bit more, so unfortunately we're not going to get to demold the dragon tomorrow. It's just going to be this bloom, because I think I'm about 1 centimetre short, which hopefully I'll have with my next project. So I'm just going to wipe off my gloves, because look at how sticky they are now. Give it another torch and then just leave it to do its thing. And then we get to demold tomorrow. God, look at that. In fact, I'm going to just put some new gloves on. Give me 2 seconds. Top tip, if you've got sticky gloves as well like this, grab it with a baby wipe. Pull it inwards on itself. That gives you one clean hand. Then you've got the other hand. And again, just pull it in on itself. And that goes straight in the bin. As I say, just going to give it another quick torch round, and it is pulling inwards. But because I've never used this mould, I've never done one this big, I don't know the time scale as to what I'm even looking for it to bloom properly. So again, it's a learning experience for me. I'm loving some of those metallic shimmers that are coming in the centre though. So I'll come back in 20 minutes, show you what it's looking like then. But at the minute, it's trying to bloom around those edges, which is great. It's just not blooming much in the centre yet. So it looks like the ocean white's blooming, and I need it to really come in to close up that centre for this to be a success. So I'll see you in 20 minutes. Gives me a chance to tidy up. Hey guys, me again, and I'm just having a look. It's been about another 10 minutes, and it's really trying to bloom at the edges, but not in the centre. So I am going to try and encourage it a little bit just with a heat gun. And I've not tried this before, but you want one with a low setting, which this one is. And I'm just going to really gently sort of just try and encourage the movement just a tad. And as I say, it's very rare that you see me using a heat gun, but I just want to try and, as I say, encourage this to keep closing in. Just to try and encourage it to still move a little. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go in the direction that it should be blowing as well. Also gets rid of any surface bubbles, which is great. So if I did it on high, that's going to go everywhere. So again, just make sure you've got one that's on low, like this. I'm just encouraging it that tiny bit. And you don't actually want to see the surface move. So if you do, you've probably done it too much. And obviously the problem is if you do it too much, you're affecting the viscosity of your resin, which may cause more blobbing. So again, just trying to get around the edges, but I don't have a lot of space here either. But I really want this one to work with how much resin I've put in. There we go. Now whatever will be, will be. Yeah, I'm hoping it still moves in a little bit more with that gentle persuasion and that I don't get blobbing on the other side. It's really strange actually. The two colours here and here seem to have not expanded as much as some of the others. And I don't know why. So, because they've all been poured, you saw exactly the same way. But either way, I think this will be amazing if it comes out. And I'm just having a look. I've got about 2 mil on the surface as well. So if I do want to do a backing, which I probably will, I can do that tomorrow morning. But so far, it's looking good. Loving that metallic shimmer from that other paste that I used, where I can just see it coming through there. I just really want this to close in a little bit more, and then I think we'll be there. So I'll see you in probably about, I'm just looking at the time now, it's about 5 o'clock. So yeah, probably see you in about 6 hours, just to see where we are, and if it's ready for a backing, or if I leave it till tomorrow for the back. Hey guys, and we're back, and it's been about 6 hours since I poured this, so it is, I can touch it, it's not leaving fingerprints in or anything. At this point, if I wanted to, I could make it into a bowl. Now, I don't want to. I'm really happy with the way that it looks at the minute. Even though these ones haven't fully closed, I really like the effect of that sort of metallic powder in there, and it just being slightly transparent. But what I want to do is give it a nice backing as well, so that hopefully we'll get some kind of result on both sides, and I can use this as a piece of art, or as a tray, or whatever. But I think it will look amazing on a wall. Just the way that it's already bloomed and those colours, I really like it. So all I've done is I've just mixed up 10 ounces of resin, because I think it will need another 10 ounces. So in this mould, which is what, nearly 1 foot, it's 1 foot across, it's 25 ounces of resin in this project, so it's a lot of resin. But the reason I'm doing this straight away as well is A, I'm eager to see what that front looks like, and I can't do that until it's all cured, but B, I want this space back because it's taken up so much room as well, and I've got a really important video that I want to get done tomorrow. So again, I'm going to be quite adventurous, and I suppose to a certain extent I want to put a load of different colours, transparent and micas, and I'm going to try some chameleon as well in the edge, and then I'm just going to pour the rest to fill it with clear and hope that that creates some kind of striation effect. Dunno. I've seen loads of videos where this works, but I've never actually tried to create that striation effect myself. When I have done it, I've used a heavy metallic gold, and it just covered the whole thing in gold, to be honest. So I'm going to use one of these cups and try and split it reasonably evenly between these 5 cups that I've got ready. Again, I'm using exactly the same resin. So it's the Jiao Chun, which is a slightly thicker viscosity resin. It's gone through the bubble removal machine for about 5 minutes. And as I say, I'm just pouring it into these separate pots to get my different colours. And hopefully I can get it about even. If not, I know which, I am still going to put a bit of gold in this, I think, and that will be the colour which I use the least, because I don't want it to overtake the whole piece like it normally does. Again, just scraping my pot, making sure I'm not wasting any resin, and I think that should be fairly evenly spread now across those pots, with one having slightly less than the others. But as I say, that's not a problem, and actually for this project I think it'll actually work quite well. So again, I don't know what this back is going to come out like, but if it comes out well, it'll also give me an idea for some coasters. So again, that's what this is all about for me with resin. You don't know what's going to happen until you try it. So I'm just looking at these. The 2 fullest I've got at the minute are these. So what I'm going to do is, I know I want to use some black, because I want quite a dark back so that those white petals stand out. So I've got this black pigment, and I'm just going to put 2, 3, 4, 5 drops in there because I do want it to be quite dark. And then, as I say, that's just 5 drops in there, but hopefully that should give me quite an opaque black. Beautiful, look at that. That's a lovely colour. Just mixing it all around, making sure I've got that colour. Again, I could add some alcohol ink to it as well, but I'm liking that as a colour. It's quite dark, but yet it's still got an element of transparency through it. If you can see there, I can still see through it to my stick, which is what I want. Then I'm going to get another transparent colour, and I'm going to go with purple, because again, it's quite a dark colour, and it's a Let's Resin purple I'm going to use. Again, 4 or 5 drops. I don't think I've used this one before. 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, it should give me quite a dark purpley colour. And I've just dropped that on the floor. I'm glad I put the lid back on. That's why you always put your lid straight back on. And I don't think this is going to be dark enough, but what I am going to try and do, because I think I've got a purple alcohol ink out as well, which is that dark purple there. So I'm just going to add a couple of drops of that to it if I can find it. Because I know I used the purple earlier. There we go, so that's the purple alcohol ink. Just to darken it up a little bit. 1, 2, 3. And that'll just give it a bit of a darker shade again. And again, I don't know if this technique is going to work or not, guys. There we go, so that's already darkened it quite a lot, but it's still got an element of transparency when I lift it out, which is what, again, I wanted. And I think that's what you need for this effect to work. Some thinner transparent colours, and then some thicker ones. So, for the thicker ones, first one, interestingly, which one's my fullest cup? This one. I'm going to go in with a chameleon powder, and one of my favourite chameleon powders is the Galaxy one from Let's Resin, and I want this one to be reasonably opaque without spilling it everywhere. So I'm going to put a decent amount in, and I'm just thinking if this works and the chameleons, I get sort of chameleon striations or something like that with the dark backgrounds, I think it's going to look amazing. And I am going to clean that off because I've just spilt a tiny bit on the finished piece, but again, I just love the colour effect of this. So that is my Galaxy chameleon powder. Look at that. Beautiful. And then for this one, I'm gonna add, where's that grey gone? I've got a grey that I haven't tried yet called Stone, and I just wanted to see what it looks like mixed up, so I'm just trying to find that now. Excuse the rustling around, but it's not silver and it's not grey, it's called Stone, so I wanted to just see what colour that is. So again, I'm going to mix that up for one of these other colours. I'm going to do it quite opaque again because I think it would be good to have the 2 opaques. So I've now got 2 almost semi-transparent colours, and this will be my second sort of opaque colour. And I'm led to believe that this is how you do this effect, but I'm yet to see. So I'm just going to put quite a decent chunk in there of this stone effect as well. And mainly just because I wanted to see what it looks like mixed up. So it's almost like a light grey. And when you're mixing your micas, make sure you scrape the same way as you would when you're mixing your resin, because it's really important that you don't get powdery residue. And that is silver, actually, to me. That's not stone, that's silver. So I'm going to have some silver in this as well. And then I'm going to have a tiniest bit of this metallic gold as well, just because it's my favourite gold at the moment. And it's a metallic one, which I actually just got a set of metallics from Temu, which came in a set of 4. But I absolutely love this gold. And I don't know if this is going to work. As I say, guys, it's the first time I've tried it. Again, I don't want too much of this gold though, because I know that any metallic colour can take over. So I'm just taking some of that off, and I think that'll do. And I'm hoping that this still is dark enough to allow that bloom to really stand out on the other side, but also to give it a bit of darkness where it's slightly transparent, is the thinking. And if I should have a little bit extra and enough to top up that dragon mould as well, so that hopefully I can demold that tomorrow. But look at how rich and gold that is. And it's not one of these bright golds that you get. It's almost an antique-y bronzed effect gold. And it's one of my favourite golds at the moment. So, bear with me. I've not done this before. I'm going to go around the edges, I think, with the colours, and then pour into the middle until I get to the top of the mould. So I'm going to start off with the black. I can rest that on there for now. And just trying to pour it around the edge so I get a reasonable amount in this mould. And I just hope it's very different in thickness, as you can see, but it's my first time pouring like this, especially from these cups, but I think it should be all right. So as you can see, it's quite transparent, but it's still very dark, which is what I want. So that is my black pretty much gone. Next I'm going to go in with, I think, one of the opaque colours. So I'm going to go in with the stone and just really go on top of where I've already poured that black, hoping it will actually push it out to the side. I just want to make sure that I get all the way around, like so. And yeah, even though it's called stone, to me that is silver. So just be aware if you've got that mica. Next I'm going to go in with the gold. And again, I'm just going to be careful not to put too much in. I want a little bit of gold in this crackle if it works, but not too much that it takes over. So again, I'm going to try and do a thin line of the gold, trying to keep it in the mould. I'm just going all the way around. And I'm still going to have about half of this left, but that's fine. I don't want it to overtake the piece. So that's that one. And then next I'm going to go in with another translucent, which is that purple, which is again quite dark, but I'm hoping it's still going to remain reasonably transparent, and this is all going to go in. And then I'm going to finish off with that chameleon. And then the plan is to hopefully push it all out with the clear. But again, I haven't done this before, so I might be doing something wrong, I don't know. And this is that lovely chameleon galaxy. And let me know, guys, do you think this is going to work? Do you think it's going to create any kind of effect? Or do you think I'm out of my mind again? And again, I've just got a couple of little drizzles of this, so I don't mind going around this and making sure it's all got a slight bit of that chameleon running through. Beautiful. There we go. So that is that. Now, do I do one more ring of gold or not? I've got the gold, so I might as well. Just a very thin one, I think. There we go, so that is another thin layer of the gold. I've still got quite a lot of that left over. And then the plan is to go in with the rest of this clear, and hopefully that will fill up the mould. And then the plan is, hopefully, it's just going to push it out a little bit. And if it slightly domes, I'm happy with that. And it is going to take it all. Literally took every drop of that. And it's probably going to create a slight doming effect, which I'm okay with. But what I'm going to do is just go around this edge, just to make sure it is completely up to that edge. And then again, just because I like to be a little bit creative, and not just leave it all to the resin, I'm just going to get my stirring stick, not touch this inner circle because I like the way that that's looking, but just literally go around these edges like this and see what that looks like, hoping it's all going to pull in and create some cool effect. But I don't know, guys. And in fact, what I am going to do is just do the same with this clear. And I'm hoping all of that is going to sort of pull in now and make a really good effect. At the minute it's not looking promising and it looks like we might just have a dark edge, but if it does all pull in, I think it'll have a really cool effect. And as I say, it's reasonably level, which is good. Shows that my table is reasonably level. So I'm just going to torch it now, and I love that effect already. Might have to turn this up again. I do find with these torches, as they start running lower on gas, you have to turn them up a little bit. And I'm doing this to encourage the resin to still spread into that center. Look at that already though, that's creating an amazing effect. But also I'm hoping that it just gets rid of all of those bubbles at the same time. So that's the way my back's looking right now. And as I say, I really hope it pulls in now. And I've got a little bit left over spare, so I should have enough to just top up this dragon mold. Well, I have definitely if I use the gold. So I'm just going to go around him and use up all of these spare little bits that I've got of resin. But do me a favour, guys, if you haven't already, just click on that subscribe button, like and subscribe to the channel. It makes a massive difference. And it allows me to keep creating this content for you. So if you're enjoying it, take 2 seconds, hit like and subscribe. And you'll also, if you want to, hit notifications as well, and then you'll get notified every time there's a new video out. There has been an awful lot coming out over the last few weeks, so if you've missed a video, by all means go back and catch up on them. There's been quite a lot of content coming out, and basically the reason why is I am in between jobs in real life, so I've got a lot more time to do this whilst I'm still looking for that next role. So again, do me a favour, go back, watch some of these videos. It lets me know that you're liking this content, if nothing else. And again, if you're not liking it, let me know that as well. More than happy to sort of mix things up to keep you guys happy, because I want this channel to be about all of us learning together as a resin community and hopefully growing our knowledge and keep on doing these experiments. Yeah, I'm not happy with the closing in effect yet, but I'm hoping that it's still early days. I'm just wondering if I should put some more gold in that center now, but I don't want the gold to overpower it, and you can see how it's already spread. That's why I didn't want to put too much gold in, because when I've done gold in the past, literally if you put too much in, it will just overtake everything and you'll just end up having a gold back, which is great if that's what you're looking for, but if you're not, it's not what you want. And I found out the other day, if you want a light champagne colour gold, you just mix silver and deep gold together. and it gives you a really cool effect. In fact, with this gold I've got left, I've probably got enough to do a teddy bear. In fact, if I scrape out these, I certainly will have, so I'm just going to get this excess resin out. Some in that one, some in that one, and always make sure you use up your resin. You know, once you've mixed it, there is no point wasting it. Always have some spare moulds handy that you can fill. Kind of creating a goldy greeny colour that, which I'm liking as a background. Right, so that is that. I think that's going to be all the resin I can get. I'm just weighing up how much I've got. I've probably got an ounce there. It's a shame my starfish mold's curing as well, because that would be enough to do a little starfish in there. Do I start another mold on the drip technique, or do I just do a pendant and see what it looks like? No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start off another drip mold, so bear with me a second. I'm going to try and find one again that I haven't done. Here we go. What's this one? Oh, that's my reindeer. I did that a couple of videos ago, so again I'm going to keep searching through my moulds. I'm sure I've got some that I haven't used. In fact, no, it's getting close to Christmas. Silver and gold are quite cool colours, so I'm just going to literally pour these into this reindeer. And again, with this reindeer mould, as you're pouring it in, try and tip it all the way into those antlers, because they're the bits that are most likely to fail or not fill up. So you can see there, those antlers, you've just got to give them a good squeeze, and it makes sure you don't get those air bubbles, but it makes sure that they fill up, which is the most important bit. I'm going to put a little bit of gold in now, and then continue that process, because actually if they're mixed together, I actually think it will give us quite a cool effect. So that's a little bit of the gold. So that's just gold and silver. Again, giving those antlers a squeeze. Probably shouldn't be doing it over the main piece that I'm working on, but there we go. And then I'm just pouring it from side to side as well, to make sure that those ears and those antlers completely fill up. And then I'm going to pour the rest in, and then hopefully within a couple of projects I'll have a little reindeer to demold as well. But this is what I mean, use every little drop, you know. Once you've mixed it, you'd be crazy not to, and it's a waste of money, to be honest, because if you get something from your drip pieces that looks good, sometimes they can be your best sellers, because people go, they're so unique and they've never seen that particular colour scheme before. Let's see if I can get any more out of this purple as well. But as I say, I'm just hoping all of that does close in. At the minute, it's starting to do something on the edges. What? I don't know. But it is starting to do something. And I think this piece will be slightly domed, which is what I wanted. So 24, 25 ounces will fill that mould. At least we know that as well. So if this does work out and I end up doing another one, I know how many ounces I need. And it's a lot of resin, guys. So I'm just hoping on the front I don't have that blobby mess that I've had a few times. Otherwise it's a lot of money down the drain. And again, just pouring the rest of this gold into this mould, and I think we'll get it up to about the head. But it doesn't matter. Over a few projects it will fill up, and then I can demold another reindeer. One thing I do remember about this mould though is it's notoriously difficult to demold. So just be aware of that if you're getting these moulds. Yeah, he's about half full, which is okay. I could mix up some more resin now to fill him up, but I don't mind having him on the side as my next drip project. And that dragon, surprisingly, only took me 3 days to fill, because I've been doing lots of projects. So again, he's going to be a really interesting demold tomorrow. And I find that these dragons, as a spare mold at the side, take about 3.5 ounces of resin, but they look amazing just with your different colours that you get in there. So there we go. That is this one pretty much there. Just gonna wipe my glove and then give it another torch just around the edges to hopefully encourage it in. But you can already see that spiral effect I put in the edge, it's already coming about 1 inch. I want that to come in probably another 2 inches, and then all of this will have spread into that middle as well and completely covered those transparent sectors here. But hopefully it's still going to keep the vibrancy of the inks and the petals on the front, and we'll get a really cool effect. Touch wood. So again, just going to go over it again with my torch, just to encourage it in a little bit and try and go in the direction that it's going to go, like that. And then just around the whole piece, heats up the whole resin and just encourages it to move that little bit. So there we go, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow for demold. Hopefully it's going to be my best one, and that is perfectly level actually. So I would say, factoring in the wastage that I've wasted in the bloom and the wastage that I had just from the sides of the mixing cups and things like that, I would say it is a 24 ounce mould, this 1 foot or 12 inch round mould. And I think next time I do one of these, I might attempt to do one a little bit thinner. So rather than use 24, maybe use 22 ounces and turn it into a bowl or something. So we'll see that on the next project. But thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for what should be a very exciting demold. Morning, guys, and we're back, and it is time for demold, hopefully, he says. But don't do what I did and leave your resting tool on a bit of uncured resin. It's your blotting tool on a bit of uncured resin. It makes it more difficult to demold. But there we go. So I'm going to start off with the smallest piece that we did, which is the starfish. And all I did with that is, that was some clear resin, then I added some alcohol ink and white sinker to it. Now the ones I've done like this in the past have turned out really good, so I'm hoping this one's the same. Look at that. It is like a little storm within the starfish, and I love these little spores that you tend to get in the legs, just from that Petri effect. Touch of blobbing, which I'm hoping isn't going to be the case for the big tray, but love that effect. And I love these crystal moulds from Into Resin. So if you haven't got any and you want some, there is a discount code in the description, which is CCUK. And they do lots of these crystal moulds, and they're absolutely stunning. You get a great finish. So that is the starfish. Next I'm going to do the dragon, which was another drip dragon, which is just from the spare drips, and I love that back. So I'm hoping that I get a nice look around the rest of the dragon. I'm starting to get a collection of these now, so I'm going to have to list some on the website and see if people actually would buy them. Because again, I can't keep them all myself. Otherwise I'm just going to have a house full of finished resin projects, and it's already pretty much getting there, guys. So I'm going to have to start thinking of a way to start selling these products, and I'm thinking of testing eBay because they're currently doing 0 listing fees. Etsy, as we all know, charges quite a bit, and at the minute my shop's been live for about 3 months and I've had 0 sales, so I'm not convinced with that. Look at this, another drip dragon. Again, absolutely stunning. I love the way these dragons turn out, just with those different drips from blooms or whatever other project I'm doing. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. Almost got a spotty effect around there as well, which looks really cool. So again, that is the dragon. Now this is the one that I'm hoping really turns out to be gorgeous. Now what I did do off camera, guys, is the center didn't pull in all the way on the effect that I was going for. So what I did is I just dripped some different dark blue alcoholings with a few drops of black and a few drops of purple in the center, and then I used my chameleon alcoholings
and went back over it, and it created this effect, which I really like. It's almost like an atomic reaction or something there. So again, absolutely love that effect that sort of came out. But I am going to demold it. I'm keen to see what this one looks like. I know I'm going to get suggestions to make it into a bowl, but I don't want it as a bowl yet. I've actually, I'm making a plate holder basically out of wood. Just have it hopefully as some two-sided art, because again, look at that. I absolutely love that. So even if the rainbow bloom hasn't turned out, look at this. Absolutely stunning for a piece of art. But I'm going to be a little bit gentle with it because it's still got a bit of flexibility in it as well. Not been the full 24 hours yet. It's been probably, I'd say, about 17, 18. Actually, what time are we on? No, it's probably more like 15 hours. So there's still a bit of flexibility in it, but it's definitely done enough for me to demold. And I really want to see what it's turned out like on the front, and if I've ruined it with this backing and I should have just kept it transparent, but we'll find out. Again, just being gentle with it. And there is, as I say, a tiny bit of flexibility left in it. So, wow. I don't think that's ruined at all. I think that is gorgeous. And we've just got two blobs. I can live with that. Look at that metallic effect from that metallic white in the center, going out to those petals at the end where they've really bloomed. That is absolutely stunning, and I even love the little effect around the edges. I think this has to be my favorite piece. Whether you want to call it a bloom or not is completely up to you, but I absolutely love that. And this will be going on definitely going on display in my house. Absolutely love that shimmer as well from that metallic. And those leaves, or petals, whatever you want to call them. And so that's the only blob I've got. But I do think that is, it's just, I'm almost speechless at how nice this piece has turned out. So let me know in comments, guys, what you think. And I love as I say, this is where I stopped with that metallic white and then went into the normal ocean white, and that seems to have bloomed better. But again, I just really like that sort of metallic-y effect I've got with that metallic white in the center, mixing with the alcohol inks. So again, let me know what you think in comments, guys. I'm going to do another one of these, I think, because it came out so well. And yeah, hopefully you think it looks as good as I do. And make sure you like and subscribe to the channel as well. And look at those blues as well, that shimmer on that. That is stunning. But I have learned something new as well with this particular mould as well. With it being quite a large mould, it doesn't seem to pull in the centre as much. Now what I might try and do is, I can see where this ocean white has bloomed more than the metallic ones. It might be interesting to see if I can do rings, sort of a ring of ocean white and a ring of metallic, a ring of ocean white, a ring of metallic, and do it that way on the next one. But as I say, I'm really happy with both sides of this, so it's almost like double-sided art now. So one day I could have it like that, and then if I wanted to have a change of scenery, flip it round and have this sort of atomic look. But as I say, I think that is probably one of my most successful bloom projects yet. Absolutely love it. Let me know what you think in comments, guys, because I'm always interested to know feedback. And let me know if you like the back, or would you have done it differently for this piece. But again, let me know in comments, guys. Appreciate you watching it, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm just going to try and put this back in its mold until it's fully cured, because the last thing I want now is to de-shape it. As I say, I didn't want to turn it into a bowl. I wanted it as this sort of, I suppose, plate or platter or tray, whatever you want to call it. Really difficult to get back in the mould, actually. So I might just leave it on a flat surface. But again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.